Glad to have you back, and once again we continue with some hard talks as we bring you updates as we cover the elections holding today across 29 states, and we're looking at the governorship and state house of assembly elections. Marianne, it's been quite an interesting conversation so far, talking about the do's and don'ts, what lessons have been learned, what lenses have been implemented, and the cues we should take ahead of other elections happening later this year and 2023. But joining us in the studio now to talk about their experiences so far in the field, we have Ademola Adewale joining us as a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Good evening. And we also have Ben Ake as well, who sent his team as well to supervise the elections as well. I'm interested to know what exactly your agency fielded across to, what messages have they brought so far in their observation and monitoring of the election so far today?
Well, our observations in Lagos are one, it's been peaceful, generally. It's unlike the presidential election that was very violent in certain areas in the mainland. Having said that, another thing is that there is complete voter apathy. I'm not sure we got up to 20% of the voter turnout that we had in the presidential
election. Have they collated the result at the polling units where you sent your team to?
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
What were some of the results, if you could share with us? Do you have details? Yes.
No, we're not talking about results now. We are interested in the process.
Okay.
Well, we want to know the percentage of the turnout. We want to know side by side the number of people that were registered.
I wish I could give you the figures. I can't give you the figures by heart. But you come to a polling booth that in the last election recorded 600 voters, and you're now getting 120 voters.
Pretty much poor.
That's very poor. So that's the kind of thing you have all around. And the reason is that people that I even went to talk to, personal friends and all that, and I said, why are you still at home at 9 o'clock? The INEC people are there. Why are you still at home? They say, man, I'm not going anywhere. I spent so much time, so much energy, so much pain in the sun at the last election. And what came out of it wasn't what we think we voted.
So do you think today's election will be a representation of truly the interest and the choice of the people, if we're having this low representation?
If you say the choice of the people, you may be right, because it is only those that come out and vote.
But the interest of Lagosians?
But the interests of the people are completely disillusioned, uninterested. And I think it's just a vote of no confidence in the process that INEC has put in place.
Are we going to literally leave all of this at the feet of INEC? You think INEC is solely responsible?
For most of them, everybody blames INEC.
I see.
Not every voter understands that there are other agencies involved in an election.
I see.
I may understand that, but not every voter does.
I see. Okay. Ademola, tell us exactly, did you go out and vote? And around your area, what were the feelers that you were getting? And just as he has compared today's elections to the presidential.
Yeah, even right before the elections today, if you've gone around Nigerians and the supposed voters, you would see that the people called Nigerians, particularly those with electoral values, are never favorably disposed to coming out on the days of election to cast their vote. The very few that do come out are those that are compelled by a strenuous force, or maybe those that are induced to come and do it. Nigerians are a people that are yet to identify with the electoral values they so bear. You understand? Because at the nick of time, you will realize people would come up to say this, and like we do tell people, democracy in itself is never the best form of government. But in the sake of processing elections, democracy makes it a bit better. Like you have said, you wouldn't say it is either a true representation of the wishes of the people. Neither would you say it is not, because it is those that dare come out to cast their vote. Because like we had in the last election, the presidential election, Lagos had a total of about 6 million registered voters. Even people with PVC But unfortunately, we had 1,000,001, 20%. Would you say that is a favorable representation? No, but unfortunately, not everybody with a registered voter's card is electorally literate and aware.
Would we be right to quickly fault the next governor who is elected when we talk about across the different states of the Federation, when we talk about health care, when we are talking about housing deficit, when we are talking about salaries and wages, when we are talking about power? Would we have any right?
Sorry, my dear brother. Hello. We have more than what we can call it right, because the failure of the people to vote for you does not take away the primordial responsibility of yours as a leader.
So we still have a right to demand.
We have more than right. We have, because the resources are there at their table, and people, whoever might have voted them in, would have done that thinking and believing that they possess the basic minimum requirement to be sensible.
That is why we talk about competency here. Yeah. At the end of the day, Nigerians have said, well, we've had leadership, but it isn't.
Sorry, I didn't. No. See, competence is a bit far from Nigerian leadership. How and why? You know, our electioneering processes have not been designed in such a way that will permit the people evaluate the level of competence. So
you're saying whether or not we vote, we just have the leaders that we have.
We have them.
Okay.
So you're saying also that our electoral process is flawed?
Yes, it's flawed. I said something. No, sir, Mr. Oka, I said something. I said, how do we do it in such a way that when anyone is coming up for an election, even while you are campaigning, please, I need an MOU with the people, so that as you are campaigning, you are signing that, see, for these 4 years, I'm doing 4 things. But these 4 things, the first must be delivered before the 12th month of my administration, failure of which will make the people recall me without recourse to me. Hello? An MOU. I will provide power, 7,000 kilowatts or megawatts. At the end of the 12th month of my regime, if I am unable to do that, please recall me without recourse to me.
I doubt if that is practical.
If we are setting,
I doubt the practicability of that.
We are setting parameters. We say in the first 100 days, you should give us X, Y, Z. And these are the same Lagosians, these are the same Cross Riverians, these are the same people from Oyo State and the different states of the Federation. How can you have what gives you the impetus to say or demand, give us this, or we assess you, when you did not even come out in the first place to,
first of all,
vote?
You are looking at those that voted. Those are not the people he's ruling. If you become a head of state or a governor, you are ruling everybody. Both those that voted for you and those that didn't vote for you.
What if those who voted were shrouded or clouded by biases?
It doesn't matter. You've already come up as the head, and your job is to deliver the goods to the people.
All.
It doesn't matter whether it's one person that voted for you or it's 1 million people that voted for you. It's completely immaterial. Once you have gotten there as the leader, your job is to lead the people in the direction in which they want.
I want to take you up on that, Mr. Aka. I remember in 2015 when President Buhari emerged, he kept making reference to the fact that he's going to do more for the people who voted for him. But Donald Trump, we know how Donald Trump became president. People wanted Hillary, but the Electoral Academy, or the Electoral College, I beg your pardon, picked Trump. And his mantra didn't change. At no point did he say he was working for the Republicans alone. He kept saying everything he was doing was for America to become great again. And every deal he cut was for the American people. Why do we not have that in Nigerian politics, in the leadership processes that govern us in this part of the world? Because the #1 man is saying, well, I'll pay attention to the guys who voted for me. But again,
when did he say that? When did he say that?
He did at some point in time, yes. Because we can still see the margin again this year. We know that there are people who are loyal to the cause of President Buhari. But then does that mean that he's not the president of the whole country? Should he not make sure that he attends to all of the problems? Because that's what David is saying. Should you not pay attention to the people who voted for you?
As a person, I detest that statement that President Buhari made. 95%, 5% is completely wrong. it has no place in leadership. Once you attain the position of leadership, you are the leader of those that voted for you and those that didn't vote for you.
All.
You are leading everybody together. So let's not even go to discuss that, because it doesn't have a place in governance. What I'm trying to say, you talked about competence and you also talked about delivery. You should question yourself, how does the political system throw up those that the public will vote for? How does the political system throw them up? That is where the problem starts. How do you and me react to the candidates? It is us, the whole populace, the whole electorate, that corrupt the system and make it impossible for whoever is here to deliver.
How? I need you to break
Number
it down.
one, a candidate somebody wants to offer himself for service. He's going through a political party. He goes through hell to get nomination. He spends himself out. He pays money to the party to get the ticket. He pays nomination fees. Then people that will even nominate him, they take money from him. Let's not hide it. They take money from him. The party itself takes money from him. He emerges as a candidate. It becomes worse. Everybody who is going to vote asks you, how much are you giving me for my vote? Can you imagine getting 1 million votes in a place and paying each person 5,000 naira? That's 5 billion already. Yeah. Even if you are paying the person only 1,000, that's 1 billion already. So
how
the
did
thing
we
is
arrive
that
at this payola
our people,
politics?
No. See, he said something.
See, what I'm talking about is that the education the voter has is completely weird. Because the voter says, you are going to be governor. After today, I'm not going to see you again for the
next 1 year. You say this,
so
and then now. We look at the figures that are being churned out from the Triple K. We look at Kano, Kaduna, Katsina. These are states that understand politics, don't wait for your 1,000 or 5,000 naira, and they vote out en masse for individuals they believe suits them best.
I don't think so.
Really?
Yes.
Tell me more.
Kanu, Jigawa, and all that is
Katsina.
More of hero worship. No, they don't understand what they're doing. That guy is my hero. Look at. I don't know if you are a sports. If
they will tell you that they understand
if you're a football fan,
what is bringing to the table for them.
You have a team. That team is losing 20 games in one day. It's still your
I have
team.
an understanding. I'm an Arsenal fan, and no matter what they do,
so that is what the problem is.
Yes.
These people cannot even understand what you're talking about.
Governance.
All they know is say Baba. That's all. Ask him, what is Baba going to provide? He doesn't know.
But let's leave the Baba issue. Let's rewind to a Jonathan. What did a Jonathan do to win that vote? Because he won.
Yes.
At some point.
So, no, it was.
If it is a hero mentality, no, I want to take him up on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
If he's saying it's a hero mentality.
No, what he said.
No, in Jonathan's case, Baba still won all over these places you're talking about, where he is a hero. Down south, you see, our politics is tainted. Not even up to 0.5% vote on rational reasoning. People vote because you are my brother, you're from my tribe.
Party.
Because you are in my religion. Because you are, I don't know, you are from my party.
Then, Ben, how do we then assess? Because I made reference to creating structures where we assess our leaders. Do an assessment the first 100 days, the first 200, the second.
Who does that?
How then do we now put in all of these structures? Ademola, because I believe you would want to see a different 4 years this time around.
Sure.
Whether or not we are saying we have the president saying it's consolidating, but at state levels now we are supposed to be pushing conversations and engagements that would ensure development. What you and I have had so far isn't development.
Yeah, of course,
we are still light years
We
behind.
are wobbling.
So how then do we now begin to assess our governors who are coming?
We may not be able to access whoever becomes the governor going forward. Why? Because we were never part of the processes that threw them up. Look at the Lagos scenario. Excuse me.
Okay, now we are not part of what threw them up. Whether they did direct or indirect primaries, forget about it. But now they are going to be here.
Now they are
How do we have them?
See, Nigerians are yet not a people who have that level of boldness to demand for accountability.
That's what I was saying earlier. If we don't have the boldness to demand for accountability, then we cannot even come out on election day to vote despite
how many of us have the KPIs for legislators? As a lawmaker, what are you expected to do? What performance record are you expected to onboard as a lawmaker? Governors, deputy governors, most of us don't know why they are there. We talk about the concurrent and exclusive responsibility. So how many Nigerians know that? You talk about Mr. President today, you see, people just know political party and ethnic divides. But until we move from this level onto another, which is hanging so much on voters' education.
How do we move now in the next 100 days?
Let's get something clear.
Yep.
You don't need the entire population to bring in a change. You only need a critical mass that are intelligent enough to interrogate the governance. And I don't agree that because we were not part of the system that threw them up, we can no longer say, you are here, this is the kind of thing we want you to deliver within this time, within that time, within that time, and judge you on them. You don't need KPI. KPI is key performance indicators, if I'm right. We are discussing human issues. We are discussing governance. Governance is Lagos State. Our educational system is poor. I'm being euphemistic.
Generalistic.
It's poor. We want it to be developed to this standard within 1 year. You give that as a governor. Nothing prevents a group of 10 people who are eggheads writing a paper and mobilizing people to go and see the governor and say, this is what we want you to deliver. I want you to deliver it in 2 years. You don't need you don't need the entire
gentlemen,
public.
let us now shift focus away from who the next governor is going to be and what he should deliver. The information that has reached Plus TV Africa, we have that EFCC arrested a man for vote buying in Kwara State, and that's Abdul Karim Abdul Salam, and has been arrested by the EFCC Ilorin Zonal Office for sharing money to voters at Unit 7, Kwara State College of Education. And in Imo State as well, there were reports as well that we got that 5 fake policemen and 2 soldiers arrested, and the Imo State Commissioner of Police has already said that, well, those suspected individuals are fake and they are going to be dealt with. And 2 persons also allegedly shot dead in Ibadan.
Wow.
We heard the report.
That's the part I don't want.
But sadly, that's a reality. We heard the news in the morning, our earlier discussion, 3 individuals shot dead in Rivers State. Now the EFCC has gotten an individual here. You understand the law, Ademola, now. Beyond just this immediate arrest, few days later, everything fizzles out. We don't know what happens next. What level of prosecution, investigation, and seeing that justice is really served this time around, so that it serves as a deterrent? We've said we don't want to have a repeat 2023 and still mention the same things.
See, we will continually have what we've been having. If the justice system is not restructured. Restructuring, as you realized some few days ago, was it not just yesterday? Courts were just ruling, barring certain persons from contesting the elections of today. Hello? Just 24 hours to the election. A court just ruling that certain persons were barred or made to be involved in the election under 24 hours. See, our justice system has been in shambles. I wouldn't know there's another word. See, it is high time we stopped looking at things the way we used to look at them. See, for an election, for a process that will give back to people that will lead, there should be some bit of sanity.
This is an electoral offense, and there are punitive measures. Now, the first point of contact is that Imo State ensures that the individuals who are arrested are prosecuted. The EFCC is supposed to ensure that these individuals seen sharing money at Unit 7 at Kwara State College faces the law. So we have to place the burden or throw more light or ensure that civil society groups mount pressure on these bodies to ensure, if not, justice can be served.
I think the question we should be asking is, how capable are we to handle these issues and see it to a conclusive end? Because we've heard these kind of stories before.
So many stories.
And as soon as results are announced.
It's not even result.
The thing is
in the next 14 to 16 hours, you will hear nothing about it. If I may remind you, the guy that was killed by customs bullets at Shagamu interchange, have you heard anything about it?
Nothing.
Hello? As popular as it was, have you heard anything thereafter?
Well, that doesn't mean that the process is not going on.
The process has been tainted.
Our legal procedures are definitely too slow.
Praise the Lord.
That man that was killed at Shagamu interchange, you may find out that it will take 5 years.
Amen.
And that is what gets people frustrated and tired, even to follow.
But then we can see,
then
you're
now looking at this.
We can see how fast certain other issues.
That's where I was coming.
The speed at
which political undertone.
No, can I tell you
something? We want deterrence this time around.
Can I tell you something?
Like what happened in the Onogan incident and several other incidents. Why can't we have that kind of
speed? When you look at
our
criminal justice system, you will find out that me and you may commit the same crime at the same time.
The same location.
The decision to prosecute me and not prosecute him is a political decision.
So you say we have laws for the rich and laws for the poor?
Yes.
That's not what I said. Get me right. I say the decision to prosecute Mr. A and not prosecute Mr. B is a political decision.
Then it means our laws are selective on who to deal with.
That is the reality of the thing. Let me give you an example. Why would Fayoshe be prosecuted and Koro be the prosecution witness? Why? It's a decision. When you become a prosecution witness, you are free. But two of them are handing gloves in the same offense.
They should be brought to court in the same way and the same manner.
There is no way. There are decisions that the law permits the executive to take. And therefore, you may find yourself commit a grievous offense, and they say,
and yet the law smiles at you.
We don't want to prosecute him, and that's it. Because even the Director of Public Prosecutions has an authority and the right to file nolle prosequi. We are not interested in
this.
And the man goes scot-free. And he doesn't give anybody reason for that. That is the law.
Why do we still, I mean, because we know, I'm guessing that
but we are
handful of us know. Why do we still let it happen if we know that?
Sorry. Who do you call we?
We the people.
No.
This is happening again.
I wish you listen to him. I wish you listen to him. It is the government, the leadership, the process.
Who put the government there?
Not you. You put them. Sorry. Can you? As I was driving down to the studio, I met some guys on the road, military men. They stopped me for well over 2 hours. What could I have done?
Oh, you experienced that?
Just today.
I did.
They stopped me. Spoke to them. They parked my car over 2 hours.
The reports we've had so far, everybody who has come to the studio has said, well, driving through, they didn't experience any military personnel. And we even alluded to the fact that all of the soldiers have been sent to the flashpoints.
No. They were there.
But if we have a mindset that we're not the ones who put them there, how can we
nobody is saying that. Nobody said we are not the one that put them there. We do not have that enablement.
That provision in that law assumes one thing, that any occupier of that office will be, first of all, pay allegiance to the state before deciding on what concerns him and what concerns any other person. That is the assumption. But Nigeria has not been able to produce such people. So those provisions have always been abused. And when it's abused, it throws everybody into confusion. You start to believe that there's no system at all. But it's the same system that exists in most parts of the civilized world.
So you remember the day we were reviewing?
What Marianne said so far is that how then do we have these situations of arrest and identification of persons,
and
this time we hold them. So how then do we now have prosecution.
It's
the
not
law take
you.
its place
It
and
is not
justice.
We
you.
have people whose allegiance is to the
States
in positions of authority.
not to parties
Then they
or
will close
personalities.
their eyes and do what is right
Justice.
for the society.
How do we correct this?
We can correct this by constant follow-up. There are civil society groups all around town, because you will see, if you took away the hands of civil society prayer group, I wouldn't know if you were in Nigeria during the General Babangida's regime, while he was about exiting and he wanted to transmit into a civilian president. Prayer got mounted on him by the civil society. But unfortunately, the nature and the type of that civil society had been raptured off Nigeria over the years. Courtesy, poverty, then graduated illiteracy. Most Nigerians now don't even know, it's not even in our head that we can follow up government and make government do certain things. You understand? The bulk of that is what you guys are doing. General enlightenment, mass enlightenment, keeping on telling Nigerians the powers in our hands. You understand? But like you have said, it's so sad that most of us do sit back and expect that the same people whose interests are being covered and shielded by the criminals in each of these. See, the guy that was whoever goes to snatch ballot box did not snatch it for his father or mother.
No.
It will have been done in the interest of a politician. And unfortunately, by fiat or by election or by previous appointment, that same politician is occupying a political post and eventually an executive
That's
member.
where investigation is supposed to find the chain.
Provided it is objective. Provided that investigation is objective.
I'm still saying that even after thorough investigation, and you link all the people that are involved, the next thing is prosecution.
So simply put,
Sorry, were you aware of the robbery?
Hold on, just a second. Simply put, what you both have said is that we are not likely to see a change in the system if we still have this same individuals defining our democracy.
Sure.
Exactly.
Therefore, once again, Marianne, Nigeria deserves the democracy it receives.
Of
That's
course,
what
yes.
you're saying.
Of course, yes.
Well,
Of course, yes.
Because they
I
say
said
the
it.
leaders that we get mirror us as a
They mirror us, of
society.
course. You know, every
Like
leader,
I said,
every leader emanates from
it
the
is the
society.
electorate that starts first to destroy the leadership. That's what I just told you. At the grassroots, they destroy leadership by not allowing leaders to emerge, except those that can buy them.
Buy their way out.
And when I say buy, don't you see, were you not in this country? You see how politicians campaign? They throw rice, throw
Buy cars, brand
buy
the cars, give money to traditional rulers,
give
and
money, give cash donations to people, give handouts.
Where is the place?
That person that is doing that is obviously not a competent person to rule you.
You know the amount of money spent on primaries, conducting primaries, winning a primary. When a man has gone ahead to spend 20-30 billion naira in becoming the candidate of a party.
How do you think INEC in
I
its
don't know.
assessment and review of this whole process, because INEC said they put a threshold at the spending of individual...
Don't go there,
Please
don't waste
hold on,
time,
let
don't
me
waste
just
time on
quickly
that.
land. 1 billion naira to be expended on political campaigns so far. Whether there was a postponement or not, all of the expenditure made so far by each political party should not pass 1 billion naira. There have been reports that the APC or the PDP or other political parties have expended much more
far
than
more
that.
than that.
What sort of framework do you think INEC has in place to checkmate,
checkmate that?
this?
If they have it in the law.
1 minute, let me just button Mr. Aka. 1 minute, INEC says we are not going to allow campaigns to follow through after the postponement. Another minute, INEC says fine.
By Wednesday.
1 minute, INEC says we are going to have uniform timing. Another minute, INEC says we'll just have to gently extend. 1 minute, INEC says that, well, we are going to ensure that the details of card readers are going to be made available, and we'll look into how possible that would be. Another minute, they are providing instances where you cannot necessarily follow through with that. 1 minute, INEC says that, well, we are going to ensure that 1 billion naira is the threshold and nobody spends more than that. Another minute, we don't know what might happen. 1 minute again, INEC says that, well, card readers are mandatory, but we've also heard counter reports.
You remember that when we started this program, I told you that the low voter turnout is a vote of no confidence on INEC and these processes. Nigerians don't have confidence in them. They don't believe them. So there's an attitude of resignation.
By the people.
There's nothing you can do to these people. If you come together to take INEC to court, by the time you even hear the case, they finish their harm. So people are resigned. People are frustrated.
But where is the place of the citizen of the Federal Republic? I like to put it that way.
No, it says something.
If we know our rights, and just like we're sitting here, we know that there is harm being done.
Yep.
We know that laws are being broken, and then it's being powdered to look like nothing. When do we decide that
the place of activism? How do we divide?
No, he said something when we started. You see, not until you don't need the entirety of Nigerians to make this move. A very little critical mass, but the critical mass now needs the moral support and the psychological backing of the large number of Nigerians sitting back. Because it's so sad, while even 3, 4, 5, like the late Gani Fahimi, while he was alive, he will be pushing through some cases. But while you hear side comments by some Nigerians, the man will go back into his shop.
The second guest that we had, the second segment of the show earlier this morning, one of the guests said, well, when you are downtrodden, you are brought down to a point where you are close to the ground. There's no point of fear of falling down.
There's no fear.
So why are we clamoring for change, saying we are tired, we are exhausted, we've seen whatever the leadership has provided, and it's nothing like what we anticipate?
Only a few.
Why not then the citizens rise up and come out en masse? When we say enough is enough, there's a shift in ground.
There's a unique thing in Nigeria. There are many people who have not identified.
Would you say that Nigerians are not yet tired enough? We are still giving room for...
Hello. Nigerians might have been tired, or Nigerians may be tired, but unfortunately, the component of Nigeria, the makeup of Nigeria, will never support a scenario where Nigerians will team up against the government. Do you understand? The makeup of... See, Nigeria is a nation of several tribes. Nigeria is a nation of 6 geopolitical zones. Of the 6, 3 are one-sided. The remainder, Nigeria is not against the South. The South is subdivided into 3. There is no basic point of denomination, no common denomination underneath the 3 in the South. So never can you have the South-South, the Southeast, and the Southwest. What happened to the situation
of MKO Abiola?
MK Abiola, no. Hello, if you get the statistics, you see it was just a little that pulled a lot. Hello? A little that pulled a lot through the party, SDP. Not that you saw Nigerians all out.
But you see had all the segments of Nigeria supporting MKO. The thing is that Nigeria has been so destroyed in recent times. In fact, we've never been as divided as we are today. That everybody and every statement you make, there's a lens looking at you. Where is he coming from? Is he coming from religious angle? Is he attacking
or tribal
person? Is he tribal? Or is he showing he's educated?
Political. But the thing is that
there is nothing that puts us together. As a nation. There's no nationalistic feeling.
But are we not responsible for the division in which allegedly these politicians have taken advantage of? We caused the cracks in the first place.
No, we bought it. They caused the crack.
And sold to us.
To be able to win advantages over each other. And we bought that.
Blindly.
Somebody now tells me, don't vote for this person because he's Yoruba. And I say, what? Why don't I look at what that man is worth, what he wants to do, how serious he is, what is his integrity, what is his capacity? Why do I want to know whether he's Yoruba or Fulani or this? But that is the first thing anybody will tell you. First and foremost. Before and until we conquer that. How do we conquer it? It will take us a while.
Okay.
Because it's either we do it through revolution or we do it through education. The most civilized way is education. And that takes quite a while. If we start with a civil commotion and civil revolution, we will get to Arab Spring. And nobody knows how it's going to go.
I was just about to say that what about the Arab Spring? I mean, I remember...
Is that the kind of thing anybody will really want?
I remember the Shanghai issue. Was it Shanghai or Hong Kong? The Hong Kong issue. They occupied. They were not... But people make funny references to Nigerians as lily-livered. You know, after a few hours... Make I go chop.
Even Egyptians were out for 18 days.
Maybe we're not resolute enough. Maybe it's just
nobody,
in our DNA to
listen, nobody
occupy.
in Nigeria wants to donate his life. Because if you want to do it, it's going to cost lives. The Nigerian military will shoot at you. Then they will shoot with live bullets. That is the truth. So, how many people are that patriotic enough to say, I don't mind if I die, I die. Provided I'm dying for something that is nationalistic.
Do you realize people blame MKO till today?
We haven't got
They
to
are
that
blaming
point.
MKO for what he did. So we are people that are we are faint-livered.
We need a lot of education.
We are just not there.
We need a lot of education. If you want to move this mass in Nigeria today without education, it will be moving in sectional teams.
And we will not,
without synergy. No, there's no synergy. There's no synergy. And like he said, basically our major trouble is education, illiteracy. Late Obafemi said something. He said, if you want to destroy people and keep them in slavery eternally, give them illiteracy. And that is what they've been successfully selling to us. They destroy our educational system, they destroy our enlightenment system, and make us redundant intellectually, so that whatever they bring, you see, as he's seated, the reason he may not be able to be deceived so simply is because of his little level of education.
Do you anticipate that this voter apathy would continue and we will see the figures sharply declining as elections continue?
I am suspecting this will continue. I am suspecting, because of the things everybody is seeing around, I am suspecting this will continue, except because before the elections we cried out that even INEC and the government, because if you are sincere, sorry, I wouldn't know, did you see 1992 elections? You saw the volume of campaign, and you saw the enlightenment and the way they moved into the society to carry people along the process. Unlike now, you hardly saw campaigns, all you saw were political party campaigns. INEC, the umpire, and the National Orientation Agency had critical roles to play about voters enlightenment, not to vote for a political party, but for you to exercise your fundamental human rights, your civic rights. See, we said something. See, Ekiti State, there were about 4.9 million. Only 490 came out to vote. 490 determined the fate of 4.9. 20% determined the fate of Lagos. Now, you will see the result of today's election, meaning only a few determines how the large mass would go. But it is the responsibility, basic responsibility of government.
And the few that even go out to vote are largely the illiterates.
Illiterates. People like us don't go out voting just because we have not adduced any value whatsoever to the electoral process. And it's because it is largely assisted by our government.
You asked a question. You said, do I anticipate lower voter turnout in future elections? My answer is no, I don't. But if it is the present composition of INEC that is going to conduct another election, the same apathy will exist. But if the INEC gets reconstituted, people will give a new INEC
Are you
a
one
chance.
of those who are saying that, well, the INEC chairman should resign?
I didn't say so, but I wouldn't mind saying so. I haven't said so, but I wouldn't mind saying so. But what I'm saying is that they have performed abysmally poorly in all facets.
Voters' enlightenment, voters' education is abysmal, and very, very poor.
They have discouraged people from voting. That's the way I saw it. Even the PVCs, they didn't even allow people to register.
They'll tell you they gave you a one-day extension after the postponed election.
Even those that registered, they didn't give an opportunity to collect their cards. These things can be done more simply, man. What are you talking about?
Well, we're painting a really grim picture for the future. That's a future I really don't want to see.
We've been discussing voter apathy.
Hence the reason why we're having this, kinds of forums, hoping that people who are watching us, who are listening to us, can learn.
Listen,
and
we are
begin
robbing.
to have a rethink, because if we want to have a great Nigeria, then we need to start with ourselves. We need to get involved. Even no matter how young you are, before you get to the voting age, you should be able to know.
And
that
I'd like to share this
everything
one
counts.
with us now, as not so many people came out to vote. Governing a state like Lagos State, for example, where you have over 20 million people, the governor even wields more power than other states, other countries like Ghana and Togo and the rest. So if we are saying we are nonchalant in our attitude, that's pretty
No, this you see is what we see in governance follow-up and monitoring. You will be surprised. You see, Nigerians are a people who don't take time to review our budget vis-a-vis performances.
No, nobody does.
Nigerians, we don't check.
Nobody.
Not to now talk of a state. Ask Nigerians, what is Nigeria's budget? This is March. How far has the government gone? Nobody.
Well, the government has a way of waiting till midway into the year.
Is it midway?
And then
no, it's when the year is almost over. Maybe when their tenure is almost over. How many budget performances and reports do we have for the past 3-4 years? Because they know that we are a docile people intellectually. We are docile.
We had last year.
Well, it's time to wake up. We want to thank you very much, Adewale Ademola. Thank you very much for speaking with us.
It's my pleasure.
Mr. Ben Aka, thank you for speaking with us.
Wake up and smell the coffee. Rise and shine, Nigeria. Well, we'll continue to bring you updates from across the Federation, and definitely Plus TV Africa is on top of all of the updates as they unfold. We'll take a quick break and bring you the other segment.